Charlie. Mark, 1 Charlie.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm full of optimism.
Einstein's theory of relativity.
We're still seeing it quite well through that haze. T-minus 37 seconds.
Fight with growing confidence.
E equals MC.
That all men are created equal.
About the future innovations.
And growing strength in the air.
Tear down this weather. Head on. Something happening coming up on station.
This is Finding Your Frequency with your hosts, Jeff Spinard and Ryan Treasure. It's time to speak up, share your voice, and hear from the thought leaders.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another fantastic episode of Finding Your Frequency. I'm your host, Ryan Treasure, and we're coming to you right here on the Voice America Talk Radio Network. I feel like I've been gone forever because I took a vacation last week, and so I didn't do any interviews for about 10 days, and so now we're getting back into the saddle, and we're going to have a great conversation today. We have a very fantastic guest. Her name is Laurie Gerber. She's passionate about personal development. She's been coaching individuals and groups for over 15 years and specializes in relationship and marriage coaching. I know all of us that are married could probably use a little help in that aspect, and she spreads the message of empowerment through public speaking events. She's done TEDx content. She's been on MTV. She's also been on A&E and the Dr. Phil and Today Show. So Laurie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yes. So you're in New York City, is that correct?
I am. I'm sticking with it. Can't seem to get out of here. Love it.
That's awesome. I just visited last year. I have a good friend that lives in Brooklyn, and so got to go there and stayed in just on the other side of the river of Manhattan. It was kind of a fun place and definitely enjoyed myself. It was my first time going to New York. My friend had moved there right after high school and had never been. So I'm like, well, what better time to go? So my wife and I went out there and had a great time and, schlepped around on the subway for 4 or 5 days. And it was interesting. I've never got public transportation that was that cool before.
Yeah, it's a way of life here. Absolutely. Awesome. Wow, that was good timing on your part. I don't think we're having a lot of tourism right now.
No, I don't.
Very good timing.
I don't think many places are. I'm in Arizona, and Arizona's like the #1 hotspot. So
that's right.
I'm like carrying Lysol cans around and I drive a truck. So when I get gas, I spray the buttons with the can and trying to keep everybody really safe. And my wife and daughter are at home, and my kids start school in a couple of weeks online. So that'll be interesting for us to deal with that. But you know what? No negativity. I want to talk about positive stuff. Positive stuff, right? Let's
get our head on straight.
Absolutely. I've been with my wife for a long time, since 1998. So long time.
That's the year I got married too.
Nice.
I met my husband in 92, 93, but yeah.
We actually met in middle school. And then
you beat me, Ryan.
Yeah, what was crazy too is like my wife tells this story and she's always like, I knew from the moment I saw you that you were going to be my man. And I'm like, what? So I was in 8th grade, she was in 7th grade, and it was her first time in 7th grade riding a bus. So we rode the bus to school in junior high, and I guess apparently I got on the bus on the second stop. She got on the first. So then as I got on the bus, and that's when her first, she first saw me. I didn't even know who she was, and then we started dating in high school, and then the rest is history.
Wow, I have goosebumps. That's a lovely story. Congratulations, and congratulations for keeping it together until now.
Oh, it's tough. Let me tell you. I know that a lot of people watch movies and think that your high school sweetheart and you guys get married and everything's just all hunky-dory and happy-go-lucky couple and they just live in matrimony and happily ever after. That does not exist.
Right. That is a lie.
Yes. I think that's interesting too, because a lot of people I don't think understand how much effort and work it is to really cultivate a good relationship. I mean, my wife and I have been together for a long time, and we've gone through all kinds of different stuff together. And don't get me wrong, we have arguments, we disagree. We have spats and fights, and not physical fights, but I think that's all normal, right? It's like part of relationships.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't avoid it. I wouldn't take it as a sign that there's something wrong. Not all couples do fight, but it's definitely not a bad sign in my book.
Yeah, and I think for us too, like a lot of our disagreements really came when we started having kids, and I grew up in a very heavy-handed, strict household with my father was in the military. He was a Green Beret, so he didn't take any shit at all, right? And so you're like, so I kind of grew up in that manner. It was real regimented and that kind of stuff. And my wife's mom was like a super hippie. And so like two different worlds. But that's actually what I think makes us work really well, is because it's kind of like a yin and yang scenario.
Yeah, I agree. I always tell people compatibility does not mean that you're the same. It means that it works. True. The combination works. And especially if you admire and appreciate the thing that the other person brings, and you can see that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
That's very well said. Very well said. So I know that one of your things that you do is you're a coach and a speaker, and you speak on lots of different topics, relationships just being kind of one of them. And before we get too deep into the weeds on all the different stuff that you do, like where in your life did you find your frequency and decide that you wanted to be, a coach, whether it just be relationship or some of the other stuff that you deal with honesty and, mastering of money and time and those types of things? Like, where did you just where did the spark happen where you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a coach? Yeah,
it's a good story, actually. I feel like I just figured it out that find your frequency. You were doing like a radio station dial where you can't find the station, and that is really how I felt for much of my life. It was like, I can't find my frequency. I can't find the song I like with a clear, clear audio. And that was despite a lot of personal growth, like yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, therapy, courses, books, gurus, all of it. And when I met my coach, my handle coach, there was I had a visceral experience of seeing someone who was in their frequency, of seeing somebody who was living true to their purpose in their fitness, in their sex life, in their health, in their career, in their in all the areas. And I hired her to teach me the Handel method because I thought, oh, that must be the missing piece in my education.
That's hard to do, to find like symbiotic, parts of, all aspects of your life and kind of keep them together. I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday and I was like, I'm just going to wear a t-shirt that says under construction because that's what I am. I'm just under construction all the time.
Right. Well, learning is one of the areas of life, and what it looks like if you're engaged in that area is, construction. So, but she had the main ones I wanted, right? She had a relationship to her health and body, a relationship to her husband that looked sexy after having kids, which was where I was at the time, and, loving her career. So the first exercise she gave me was what we have all of our clients do, which is write our ideal. Like, what's a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 in each area of life? And in all of my times of personal growth, no one had ever made me look at all of them together. So I could see how I constructed my whole life and where I was tuned in, if you want to take that analogy, to certain things. Like, I was really tuned into having a business and getting to work from home and spitting out the children and keeping my marriage together, not good, but together. Right? There were certain things I was tuned into that I was succeeding at. And because I was succeeding, it looked like I found my frequency to other people, but I didn't. I was really off. I was literally eating things I was allergic to all day long. I mean, talk about off frequency. Yeah. I was literally ignoring my husband and my sex life in honor of cake. I was literally doing a job that I was good at and paid the bills, but gave me no fulfillment. So I was not in my frequency. So I do this exercise. My coach immediately tells me a few promises will change everything. Like, you have no idea how simple this is actually going to be, which again blew my mind. She had me quit sugar, which was insane and awesome. She had me start having sex with my husband again. Insane and awesome. She had me stop interrupting him. Actually listen to this person. You said love, honor, and cherish till death do us part. Interesting, coach. And then she had me start making outreach calls to build my business every day before noon. Like, actually doing the business development I had said I thought would be good to build the business, right? So all of a sudden, Ryan, I felt in tune with myself, in sync with myself, in integrity, proud, happy, confident. She said, don't even bother dreaming about your next career until you have your self-respect. So I was like, okay. And then she's like, and here's how. Right. And then she made me make a list of things I was afraid of and do one every week. Like, jump out of a plane.
Did you go jump out of a plane?
I went and jumped out of a plane. I was, trust me, I was number one, very coachable, and number two, at my wit's end, because I had done all the work and checked all the boxes and I still wasn't happy.
How did you come up with the list of things that you were afraid of? Because like when you just said that, I'm like, I internalized that immediately, right? I'm like, what am I afraid of?
What are mine?
And I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm just afraid of like screwing up as being a parent, right? That's probably like my biggest fear. Like I have a daughter. I'm like, oh, please get educated. Don't rely on a man, right? Go be you first before you go be you with somebody else.
You're on track, Ryan. You got it.
Go take karate.
Yeah. All good advice. All good advice. Well, I mean, you may not be as chicken as I am, or chicken in the same way as I am. Like, if you're listening, everyone has their own list. I was literally afraid to drive a car in New York City, which, you know, you might understand. I was afraid to drive a car. Hey, when I went there,
I was like, I'm glad we didn't rent a car. I don't want to drive there.
Exactly.
Not that I was afraid of it,
to drive. I would have been afraid to sleep outside on my roof. I was afraid to jump off a diving board. I was afraid to jump out of a plane. I didn't have a long list, but I had a good, a decent list of things I just didn't think I could do. And they were symbolic, because I don't need to make a career of jumping off of a diving board. But that experience of conquering my thoughts, and I literally remember it to this day. It's one of my proudest moments. I walked up all those steps, then I walked all the way back down, then I walked all with people looking at me like I had an audience, including my own children, and I did it. I jumped off the diving board, and then as soon as I did, I was like, nope, I never have to do that again. Like, I didn't love it, but I'm really proud I did it. And it still goes down in history as a positive, like, of all those negative memories we remember, I now remember that as one I'm proud of. And so that went into my core.
You guys have to check out this new service that I'm playing around with called Issue. It is totally amazing. You live to create, but you don't live to worry over the last nitpicky details involved in putting final touches on contact. You got to do what you do best and let Issue handle the rest. If you're a creative, you know the drill. You're finally done editing. It's perfect. Now you just need format and reformat for every single platform. With Issue, make it once, and it's ready to post everywhere. Seriously, Issue is the all-in-one platform to create and distribute beautiful digital publications, from brochures to magazines and sales collateral. It's perfect for creators, marketers, designers, educators, publishers, salespeople, or just anyone that wants to make eye-catching content that can be distributed on multiple platforms. Issue makes it really simple. Just upload the PDFs and files, and Issue transforms them using your vision and customizable templates to create the content you want. With Issue, you just create it one time and distribute it everywhere. Everything is optimized to post on your website, social platforms like Instagram and Facebook. They can even help you make animated Instagram stories. And the best part about it, it is free. FREE free. That's right, it's free to get started with Issue. So go to issue.info/frequency to sign up for your free account. That's issuu.info/frequency to sign up and let them know that you heard about it from this show, Finding Your Frequency. Remember, that's .info, not .com, .info. So go to issuu.info/frequency and get your free account today. You know, it's funny. I experienced that same thing when I was in Navy boot camp, right? One of the first things that you do is they're like, you're in the Navy. You're going to be around water at some point. And so, the first thing, I think it's like week number 2, because week number 1, you're getting your head, your hair all cut off, and they're checking your teeth and giving you shots and, making you run around and learn how to march and all that kind of stuff. And then the second week, it's like all swim stuff. And the first thing they make you do is walk up on this gigantic high dive and jump in the water, and they see who can swim. And I watched these,
they see who can swim.
I watched these guys who like the, big macho dudes. And, one guy's like, I'm going to be a Navy SEAL. And I watched him climb up the ladder and just clamber up, and he couldn't jump off. Right. And like, he never even knew he was afraid of that until that moment in life, I've been around water my whole life. I was a lifeguard in high school, all that kind of stuff. And so, that stuff came very easy to me, but I had that, like, it triggered me. Like, I was like, wow, I feel really, really happy that I've never got to a circumstance where like I got to the edge of something and like I couldn't do it. I felt really bad for that guy. And he did end up becoming a Navy SEAL.
There you have it. And I mean, you can see also why if you have training in facing your fears, right?
Yeah.
If you've been trained in the Navy or you've been even trained as a lifeguard, you know.
They don't really train you in the Navy. I think they pushed him off.
Interesting.
I guess
right?
sometimes you do need a little, not like pushing you over a cliff, but sometimes you need a push. That's what coaches do, right?
That's what I felt as knowing I had to account back to this coach. In addition to that, everyone was watching me, which is really like, we know scientifically that helps a human being achieve results they wouldn't normally achieve. That accountability to somebody who you admire and a public audience, watching to see what you're going to do. So anyway, so that was my first experience of finding my frequency of like, okay, I know who I am. I know what I care about. I'm living true to myself. And then I could start to dream for my career. We then did another whole exploration on that in coaching where I had to brainstorm all these different ideas. And then I would give it ratings. Like, how does my head feel about it? How does my heart feel about it? How's my hoo-ha? Right? Head, heart, and hoo-ha. We say the 3 H's. That's your practical mind, your feelings, and the attractiveness or the chemistry or the turn on. It works well for dating, but it can also apply for jobs. And life coach was on my list, my brainstorm list. But what I wrote next to it was, I'd be embarrassed to tell anybody I do this. It sounds like a quack. But if I could do what you do, right? I was talking to my coach in this assignment, I'd probably be pretty happy. So, I didn't know that I could. So it didn't get a very good head rating. It got a good heart rating. It was like a 9 or 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 in heart, because I knew I would love it, because I loved what I was learning and I loved what this woman represented. And hoo-ha was like a 2 or a 3. I was like, I can't tell anyone I do that. It's embarrassing. So really? Yeah. So I didn't pursue becoming a life coach. I just earnestly kept studying different possible things I could do. I knew I wanted to work from home. I knew I wanted a flexible schedule. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to be challenged. And I knew I wanted to, be able to grow and be flexible in my career, like a career growth potential, right? So miraculously, in my earnest process of dedicating, and mark my words, 6 hours a week, I set a timer. I call it homeschool grad school. Like, I was in homeschool grad school. I was in 6 hours of research, interviewing, talking to people, studying, asking questions, like really putting in the integrity into the career search. And along about a month or two after I called life coaching quackery, the person who was running the life coaching division at Handel Group. At that time, we had an education division. We taught at MIT and Stanford. We had a corporate division. We were working in companies. And then we had this life coaching division where we were working with individuals. And the woman who was running that, we were tiny at the time. This was like 16 years ago. She unexpectedly left the company. And there was nobody to run that business. Oh. Right? And here I was in running my own small business in New York City, doing fine. I knew how to run a small business. I knew how to do customer service. I knew how to do business development. I knew how to do sales. I knew how to do a little bit of everything running a small business. And they offered me the position of president. How do you think my hoo-ha felt about that title?
10.
I can do president. President, I can do. So I took that. And I was happy for a long time as someone who was really building a very small nothing into a something, and got to make the decisions and have the power and teach what I loved. And I was a coach and I helped people and I did at that time I did everything. And as I evolved in this company, now I get to do only what I like to do. I am not the president anymore. But I still get to do what I most love to do, which is teach people and elevate consciousness. And I mainly now do that through webinars and the TEDx and podcasts and different formats like that, because that's awesome. My favorite thing. Yeah.
You made me laugh when you said quackery, right? I've been in media for, I don't know, since 1997 or something like that. And I've been to so many different events. I've met all kinds of speakers and coaches. And, you know, when you say quackery, in my brain, I always go, you know what is the weirdest thing for me is when people call themselves a coach and then they try to sell from the stage. Right. That's
Sure.
that's the part to me where I feel like a lot of people who are coaches or, you know, mindset mentors or whatever you want to call them, you know, when they're selling from the stage, it's like, I'm already here. Like, what are you trying to sell me? I already paid to see you talk. You want me to spend more money and get in there? You know, I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from on that one.
Yeah, I've been known to sell from the stage.
Yeah, I guess it's just
I'm that girl.
How you go about doing it, though, is
Yeah.
one way. And you know, I saw a speaker. It was a couple of years ago, and he's like, I have Jennifer in the back of the room, and she's got the credit card machine ready to go, and you can sign up for my, you know, mastermind 3-day extravaganza in Las Vegas or whatever city they were going to next. And you know, I just sat there and I was like, I want more, but I don't want to go to Vegas with you for 3 days.
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, right, it's fun because right now, given pandemic times, we get to offer a lot for free, and that's just floating my boat. I get to do a call, a webinar every morning now at 9 a.m. Eastern, and just help people, you know, just be available, and people come and go as it's really lovely. I mean, not that I don't like selling. I love selling. I really do. Like, I believe in selling.
You have to sell. I mean, I think everybody's everybody's a salesperson.
Yeah, we're all selling all the time, right? So I believe in selling, but I also really believe that you know, we all need community right now. We all need to be around individuals that are going to elevate, you know, our brain space and what we want to be thinking right now. So it's an honor to provide that and let people, you know, figure out what they want and need from us over time.
You said always be selling, and the first thing I thought of was Glenn Ross.
Always
right?
be closing.
Yep, I was laughing. It's like, first place you get a set of steak knives. Second place, you're fired.
I remember.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, that's a very poignant scene.
So what's one of the most challenging things for you when you take on a new role as a coach for somebody? You know, I'm sure you get a lot of people that are, you know, like skeptical of coaching when they first probably talk to you. How do you get past that barrier with people? Well,
speaking of selling, we actually vet really well when people come to us and say they're interested in coaching, because we really don't want skeptics. Right. I mean, skeptics can do our digital program, right? You're welcome to, you know, just like at your own pace, self-serve, listen, do the work, you know. But we don't want skeptics in our private coaching because it's not worth your money. Yeah. We like getting results. It's like first place or go home, you know. So if we don't want to waste your time and spend your time breaking down your skepticism. You could come to our free stuff for that. You know what I mean? By the time you get to paying the rates that we charge, you've got to actually want to do written homework. We teach this at MIT. This is academic.
Yeah.
Like this is not therapy. I'm not juxtaposing it with therapy, but it's not therapy. It's not light. It's comprehensive. It's deep. It's for when you're ready to do the work. There's written homework between sessions. There's promises to keep. Like when you heard, my first assignment, you know, was hefty, both physically and in terms of writing. So it's really not for everybody. And you have to want to look at yourself without blame, right? It's not self-flagellation. You have to want to look at yourself. You want to be mentally healthy enough that you're not going to turn that into a drama, right? So you're mentally healthy, you're intellectually ready, you're capable of listening and doing written assignments and handing them in on time and showing up to calls. So mostly when I start with a new client, I am not dealing with their skepticism about the method and how we do things. I am dealing with the pile of crap in their lives that they believe to be true that is not.
Their skepticism about their ability.
Themselves. Exactly. Exactly. That's the real obstacle. And luckily I have a lot of tools for that, but that's the real obstacle is figuring out the dynamic, right? Like, how is this person playing me? Because even though people will pay thousands of dollars for a coach, they will still try to play the coach. I know I did. So I have to figure out how you're trying to play me, which is a waste of your money, but I understand. You know, what you're lying about to yourself and to others, and what you really, really care about. And sometimes people don't present with that. Like I presented, I want to do better in my business. That was BS. yeah, I wanted to do better in my business, but that was not really what I wanted once I had to look at all my dreams. Biggest challenge.
Are you having trouble finding hand sanitizer? Well, Spa Treat has you covered. There's no need to go searching high and low. Just visit spatreatofficial.com and place your order on their easy-to-use website. On schedule delivery. One of the great things about this product, Spa Treat Fulfillment Team is working around the clock to provide people hand sanitizer during this time of need and get your order to you as quickly as possible, even faster than Amazon. Spa Treat also has the lowest price of any of its competitors. Spa Treat has 62% alcohol content, and the FDA recommends between 60 to 80 for maximum protection. This one has 62 because it doesn't dry your hands out. I use this stuff every single day. It is fantastic. It's got certified organic extracts with the ingredients in that hand sanitizer that are the highest quality, and they're designed to leave your hands smelling and feeling fresh while protecting you at the same time. The best part, there's no tricky residue left over. None of that sticky stuff. 4 scents available: unscented, tea tree, lavender, and lemon. And best of all, this product right here is made in the good old United States of America. A lot of companies are having trouble dealing with the current demands, so Spa Treat has dedicated themselves to providing a much needed product in the time of crisis. Spa Treat has better prices, faster shipping, and a larger supply than any of their competition. There isn't even a close second. Visit spatreatofficial.com and enter promo code SPA SPA at checkout to receive 5% off your entire order. That's right. Not only are they offering the lowest price available, but they're also offering our listeners a discount. This promo code is exclusive to Voice America, and only our listeners get this discount. Spa Treat and Voice America came together on this sponsorship in order to provide Americans something they could really need right now: peace of mind. Visit spatreatofficial.com and order yours today. That's spatreatofficial.com, and make sure you use the promo code SPA at checkout to receive 5% off your entire order. Spatreatofficial.com. Get your awesome hand sanitizer. What is your definition of success, though, when you say I want to be better in my business? Well, is it more, is it just strictly I want more money, or I want to make the same amount of money but do it in less time? Right, so I have more time with your family. There's so many different pieces about that, and I think that's an important thing that people need to consider too when they're thinking about self-growth and moving out of a position that they're in. Is like, what is your definition of success? Right, because it's going to be different for everybody. I could have $1 million in my pocket, but if I'm a crappy dad, I'm not successful.
Exactly. And honestly, the only reason it's like it was the only answer I knew to give, right? It was like, I just had to think of my best idea of, well, what should I want? Oh, I should want more money. I should want more customers. I should want to be thinner, right? There was no actual heart connection to those desires because no one had ever really asked and insisted on an answer that felt resonant to your point about frequency, right? No one was asking for a resonant answer. They were just okay with the right answer, right? "Quote unquote" right answer.
That's interesting. And is there a right or wrong answer? Really?
I don't think so.
As long as you're honest with yourself, right? Then those are the right answers.
It's very individual, which is why we coined the phrase personal integrity. We're not teaching people integrity. We're teaching them personal integrity, which means what is your truth? What is your heart telling you? That voice that keeps talking to you. Even
my heart tells me that I need to do more. I need to do more karate, but I can't get up at 5 a.m. It's like hard for me.
Well, your heart says karate. Your head says sleep. Not at 5:30.
Not at 5:30. Yeah.
Yeah, and then what we would do is have you make and keep a promise to get up at 5:30 for 2 weeks and do karate 3 times a week, and then vote whether you can get up at 5:30 or not. Proving, of course you can. Now, is it worth it? We'll see.
You know how many times I've had to get up at 5 or 5:30 in the morning for some broadcast related something that we had to do for, a live event or something like that, and that was no problem. Boom, I'm up, I'm ready to go. Let's go do broadcasting.
So there's nothing wrong with 5:30.
Correct. Yep.
Good to know. So I challenge you to make and keep that promise. 3 times a week, get up at 5:30 for karate for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just try it and then tell me, because there is a positive feedback loop once you try to do it, right? Well, how do you explain, Ryan, that I for years was like, I want to build my business, but I literally wasn't making phone calls to talk to people about my business? Like, huh? That's a lie, Laurie. And then as soon as I started doing it, it only took me 2 weeks of doing it every day. until I was like, oh, right, this is my job.
And then you made
and
it.
it's easy and it's fun.
You made it habitual at that point.
Yeah. So, it wouldn't, that's what we do. It's so dumb that it's that simple. That
Yeah, and for me, I want to get up at 5:30 and do karate every day, except for Saturday and Sunday, because you got to rest a little bit. And I do go.
I dare you.
I do go to classes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the actual dojo where we go that. And you're right when you talk about like accountability. I have a higher level of accountability knowing I have to be somewhere. And so I go there, and when I get off work, 3 days a week, and I'm over at the dojo. But the morning part where I'm not accountable, I'm accountable for just myself. I struggle with that part.
Well, we have a trick for that. I was actually just looking at an Instagram post on the Handel Group website, and it said, why are we so good at keeping promises to other people and not to ourselves?
Yeah, I agree.
That's pretty sad, right? That you're the last one on the list to keep a promise to when you're actually the most important person to keep a promise to for your self-respect.
Yeah, and I tell my daughter that all the time. I don't even follow it myself sometimes.
Yeah, that'll get you in trouble because, they do as we do, not as we say.
Yeah.
They do as we do. It's remarkable how much they do as we do, right?
100%.
I never even knew all the things I did until I saw them in my children. So our trick is what we call promises and consequences. So to this day, if I interrupt my husband, if he's talking and I interrupt, I do one of his chores.
No cake for you.
No cake for me. There's no cake for me anyway. But in this case, right? If I don't show up on time to family dinner, which is at 6:30 every night in my house, I work on the 4th floor. Dinner's on the 2nd floor. No excuse.
Yeah.
Other than being a brat. If I am 1 minute late, which I was the other day accidentally, I owe my kids $20.
That's $60 a pop.
No, 20. They have to split it.
Oh.
So I'm not crazy. Consequence is annoying but not punitive. Okay, it's not a punishment. It's annoying but not punitive. If I don't keep my sales targets, I take a 2-minute cold shower. It's not the end of the world. Like, that doesn't make me want to put someone in my programs that doesn't belong in it, but it reminds me to make my damn phone calls because I don't particularly like taking a 2-minute cold shower.
I don't think anybody
does. You get the idea?
Unless you live here in Arizona, it is impossible to take a cold shower right now. You could leave the water running for like an hour on cold and it's still 85 degrees.
Well, your consequence would be go sit outside for 20 minutes with a sweater on.
that would not be fun.
Same difference. Right.
Yeah.
If I have an evening date, I have a slumber party with my best friend every night. That's my evening time with my husband. And if I'm even 1 minute late, 100 push-ups. And, I look pretty good.
Hey, the 100 push-ups, I know about that. I do that all the time because that's one of the things that we do in karate for training that we've been doing for a lot of years. And they're not regular push-ups either. Like we have to do them on these 2 knuckles.
Ooh.
Right.
So that wouldn't be a good consequence for you, but it really is for me a good consequence. And that's the art. So if you don't get up, if you're going to the dojo 3 times a week and then your idea is to get up twice a week in the morning and do it, your consequence would be something like no coffee for no coffee on the weekend if you like coffee, or no wine, or no
that would
internet.
be no microbrew beer for Ryan.
No microbrew beer for Ryan.
Because exactly. I don't drink coffee, but I actually
me neither.
I've actually
doesn't work for me.
I've done no, it doesn't do anything. I all it does is just I don't know. I can drink a cup of coffee and go to sleep.
Lucky you.
But and I started that road a while ago, just trying to I said to myself, I live in a desert, right? I'm like, you need to drink more water. And so now I've gotten to the point, and it's habitual, and it's really funny too because I have a 40-ounce water bottle, and my wife's like, how many of those did you drink today? And I'm like, I didn't even count. At least 6.
Nice. Wow. Like good for you.
Constantly drinking water. But yeah, no, I love that idea of having some kind of a consequence for, you not doing that thing. So who cooks and makes sure your meals are ready by 6:30?
Well, when I created that promise, it was my husband. And so I was being particularly rude by not showing up. Mm-hmm. But over the years, it's been different people. Very rarely me. It's not my jam.
That's awesome.
I actually like cooking, but I like working better.
Yeah, I like both. Like, I love working. This is what I do for a living. I get to interview awesome people like you. I get to manage an entire network of other awesome hosts of radio show content and, coach them and guide them, which I absolutely love in the media space. And I love cooking. And you know what? For a long time, too, I thought I was the best cook on the planet. Nobody could make steaks better than me. And then my wife was like, hey, I'm going to make steak tonight. And I went, okay, fine.
You can do that?
I just was like, sure. I haven't made a steak since.
Wow.
She totally Gordon Ramsay'd the steak, right? It was the most amazing thing. And now when she says, do you want steak? I'm just like, 2. 2. Yeah. And so we split up our duties at home with the cooking, and we kind of bounce back and forth depending on, like right now, my wife's been doing a lot more because she's home all day. And I'm here at the studio. And so she's there with our daughter. And so she's, she's an accountant and a lunch lady and a teacher and a chef and all of those things all wrapped up.
She's all the things.
Yeah.
Chief operating officer, chief emotional officer.
100%.
All
school nurse, all that stuff.
Yes.
So, coaching is an interesting thing in the respect of, like, I'm sure you meet all kinds of different and interesting people through your time as coaching, but aside from, let's say like relationship goals and business goals and fitness goals, right? Those are probably the 3 top things that you hear from people,
top 3.
Right?
Yep.
What about managing your own money? I think that's
Sure.
a tough one, because it's not like when you go to high school or college even that they have, personal finance classes, which
silly?
is ridiculous.
What's in our curriculum? It is. It's so silly.
Like you mean you have a master's degree and you can't balance your checkbook?
Yeah, or don't want to.
Don't want to. Yeah.
Right? It's not always that you can't, but
does anybody really balance our checkbooks anymore? Or do we just log in online and look at the
it's a different thing. It's like balance your checkbook in quotes means something different now.
That just means look at the pending payments you have and don't spend more than that.
Now I'm down a rabbit hole, but to answer your question, those are the 3 top areas, but I would say the other biggest area is one's relationship to self in general. Like just a general experience of I can trust myself, I like myself, I know who I am. So that's a big one we work on. Definitely money, time, family, those are close behind in terms of urgency for people. But yeah, that's what my research shows.
And mastering time is really difficult to do. Especially, I can tell already you're kind of like a workaholic. I'm the same way. I have to turn my phone off when I get home, because if I don't turn it off, I'll be looking at emails constantly, like, oh, what's going on, right? Or not necessarily off, but turn the notifications off and just set it away. But and that's been that's probably been one of the hardest things I've had to overcome for myself, is just being able to like walk away. And knowing that it's okay to walk away, like this problem will still be here tomorrow.
Well, that's what time management is stopping doing what you're doing and starting doing something else. Like that's all. Like people go, I'm bad with time. All you're saying is I don't stop what I'm doing. Right? That's literally all you're saying. And then our answer to that is, well, if you had promises and consequences, you'd be much better at it. Because everything has a consequence. You ignore your kids, it has a consequence. You ignore your spouse, it has a consequence. You don't have sex anymore, it has a consequence. You don't do your business development contacts, it has a consequence. But we don't feel the consequence acutely, and we don't connect the consequence with the action or the choice. So I never connected interrupting my husband 4 times a day, every day for 10 years with, oh, he wants a divorce now. I didn't equate them until I did that homework and, created a dream. And then I asked him, why do we not have the dream? And he said, well, I stopped trying to talk to you years ago. Like why bother? You don't listen. And I was like, oh, right. So we don't understand consequences. We don't, and I think that's true of all animals, which is why they say, you have to, the consequence has to come quickly, and it has to be connected with the choice, or else there's no point, or else it's just a punishment and it's just a power play. So if I have an immediate annoying consequence that I owe, all of a sudden I'm alert. It's like, how old's your daughter?
6.
6. Okay, perfect. I don't know if she has chores yet, but
she does.
What I noticed with my kids when they were growing up is I would say, set the table, set the table, set the table, set the table. And it would be like they couldn't hear me. Like they literally couldn't hear me. But if I said, if you don't set the table within the next minute, you will not have dessert tonight. Suddenly, not only could they hear my voice, they could figure out how to stop what they were doing. They could figure out how to set the table and set it quickly and easily.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That is 100% how I manage my household with my daughter. And she does. She sets the table.
Nice.
She has to do the dishes. She's 6.
Nice.
By doing the dishes, I mean put them in the dishwasher and push the button.
Military household. Love
Push
it.
the button. And I've had to do that before. I've had to go, you know what, Marley, if you don't get over here and do the dishes, I'm going to take your Switch back to GameStop and we won't have it. Right? Because she loves playing Pokemon.
I recommend a consequence you can actually follow through on.
Oh, I can take it back.
So but you wouldn't for not putting the dishes in the dishwasher.
True that.
Like it'd be smarter to take it away tomorrow.
Yeah,
which is something you can actually enforce. I'm just saying that because anyone listening.
Yeah, and I think I probably said take it back to GameStop just off the top of my head, but I've never. More like it's like, hey, if you don't do this, you're not going to play your game for the next 2 days.
Announcement to all parents. This is an art and a science to get the right consequence for kids and for yourself. It's an art and a science because you really do have to do something that's implementable, that's quick and easy for you, that's not punitive, but it's going to annoy the crap out of them. Because a spanking is not an effective punishment.
It's right now.
Or consequence. It just has been scientifically proven as not particularly effective. But a kid losing their dessert or their game or their vice, that's effective. But you have to be able to follow through, and you have to follow through quickly. It can't be like someday in the future.
Yeah.
So plan your consequences in advance, in a quiet moment, alone at night with your partner, if applicable, so that you're ready to go. And better yet, tell your kid in a calm moment, hey, these are the rules, these are the expectations, these are the consequences. Plan accordingly. Manage yourself so you can be an independent human being. And I'm just going to be the one who takes the fines, right? I'm not going to be the police. I'm not a jerk.
I don't know about you guys, but I absolutely love keeping my face nicely shaved, nice and clean for my wife, and just that nice, clean, professional look. I suggest you guys also do the same thing, and you can do it fantastically with a great company called Harry's. Harry's is such an amazing product, not to mention how much could you save in 1 year by switching to Harry's? It's enough to buy 26 cups of coffee in New York City, or enough for 3 deep dish Chicago pizzas. Enough to pay for 6 months of your Netflix subscription. How, you ask? Harry's delivers high quality razor blades as low as $2 each. That's it, just $2. A fraction of the price of the leading brand, and saving you hundreds of dollars over time. I just love the product. It's a close shave. The design of the handle is ergonomic. It fits my hand perfectly. The shave gel really makes it nice and smooth, and it smells fantastic. You can get a Harry's trial set delivered to your doorstep by going to harrys.com/frequency. You got to try it out. Durable blades, fair price, $2 per blade. They cut out the middleman manufacturing blades in their German blade factory that's been making precision blades for a century. That's why you get that nice, close shave and that wonderful handle. Harry actually has all your grooming needs covered in one stop. You can get blades, hair care, shower products, all on harrys.com. And just like their blades, Harry's is committed to providing premium products without breaking the bank. You can feel a little better about your purchase knowing that 1% of the proceeds are set aside for nonprofit organizations devoting to helping provide access to better mental health care for men and veterans. I know I can get behind that. To help support those who need it most, right now, Harry's is donating $1 million worth of shaving supplies to hospitals across the United States. Listeners of Finding Your Frequency can redeem their Harry's trial set at harrys.com/frequency. You'll get a weighted ergonomic handle for a firm grip, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip, and a trimmer blade. Rich lathering shave gel with aloe to keep your skin hydrated, and a travel blade cover to keep your razor dry and safe to grab on the go. Don't forget, go to harrys.com/frequency and start saving money today. What is it? We have 5 rules at our house for Marley, right? It's no whining, no crying, no temper tantrums, listen and learn everything. Those are our 5
Whoa,
rules.
that's some intense rules. No crying? That seems like a little little extra.
No, not necessarily. It might be a little bit harsh. She's a girl. She has emotions. She's emotionally charged like every human being, right? And it's not that you're not allowed to cry. I don't want her dwelling, right? It's like, it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to feel a certain way, but you need to feel that emotion, feel that way. If you need to cry for a minute, that's great. Feel that way, but move on. Like, don't get stuck there.
All right.
Right.
All right. Ryan, I couldn't agree more. Feel the feelings, because the feelings are intelligence, right? You're having a feeling because of a thought. And if you could trace that thought back and then demystify the thought, debunk the thought, or affirm the thought, that, like, you could be crying because you miss your grandfather that died. That's beautiful, right? Like, cry for that, and then move on because you've honored that person once you've cried. I agree with you, move on, but I don't recommend telling your children no crying. That's too extreme. That's my 2 cents. But I do agree with your philosophy.
It's like no crying because a lot of kids try to use emotional manipulation. And so it's like, no, just because you're over there crying.
I'm with you on the whining.
Yeah.
I'm with you on the extreme on the whining. The crying
my biggest pet peeve, Marley, I need you to do this. And then
I love it. Learn everything. You are a bit extreme, but I get it.
Well, it's like, I mean, seriously, my daughter, I have an older son. He's 22. He's already out of the house. He lives in Missouri. So basically, she's an only child. And so when she was born, I'm like, well, if she has no brothers, no sisters. She can only learn from her parents. I need to keep her away from other children as long as possible, because that's where kids learn other bad behaviors from parents who don't do the proper parenting mechanisms with your children. I was so scared when she went to school, like in kindergarten. She came home and I'm like, whoa, what did you learn? You only been there for 3 days. Homeschool. Right?
We went into homeschool also. You can see we share that arrogance about who should be raising our children.
But at the same time too, like, she also is an only child, so going to school and having those social interactions was also extremely important. And so it was just one of those things. It's just like, my rules might be a little bit extreme, but like the only one that's flexible is crying. Right.
Good.
Like, it's okay to cry a little bit. Like, and we've had this conversation, and I've even reprimanded her and she started crying. And instead of telling her the rules, I asked her, why are you crying? And she said, I'm crying because I know I did something wrong. And I'm like, oh, well,
nice.
Good. Self-evaluation. Fantastic.
Appropriate.
Yes.
Appropriate.
Now stop crying and let's move on.
Some people will cry to not clean up the messes they made, which is something I find in adults as well. And myself included.
The ever-going struggle, right, with a 6-year-old. And I have to sometimes tell myself, she's 6, dude. Come, let her be, And I'm like, you need to clean your room. Dad, okay, I cleaned my room. All right, well, let me go look at it. And then I'm like, damn it, I'm being my dad. Right, because my dad would be like, military guy, like, white glove, let's make sure it's clean. If it's not clean, you're doing it all over again, right? And so I grew up in that method, and so I have to very cautiously take a step backwards sometimes and go, wait a minute, hold on, don't be my dad. Oh, hey, you tried to clean your room. You know what? You missed a couple of clothes over here. Let me help you, right? Boom, boom, rather than get into that argument of, all right, you're not leaving your room until you clean it. It's like, hey, she made an attempt, right? So I'll make an attempt with her. And
the question, thank you. The question is what your purpose is, right? And the purpose of strict discipline in the military is you want to know that if your life is on the line, that everyone's going to follow command, right?
That's correct.
That is not the same necessity in a household.
Nope.
It's just not. So it's not that tactic doesn't work for a certain purpose. But if your, depends on your purpose. If your purpose is to raise your child to think for herself, if your purpose is to raise your child to be impeccable, if your purpose is to connect with your child and have your child feel loved by you, right? I'm often asking my clients, what is the main purpose? And then what's the secondary purpose and the tertiary purpose? And then what's not what purpose are you bowing to or honoring that is not even yours? It's your father's or your culture's or your religion's.
And that was like one of my main purposes is don't be my dad.
But you could be more specific, because it's not, your dad, I'm sure, did the best he could, but I think what you mean is don't discount the soul of the child, or don't or be present to my child versus just the standard.
And that's what my dad was lacking. Like, there was no empathy in anything that he did. It was like, this is it. There's no other way. You do it this way. And if the consequences, right? And when I was growing up, probably similar to you, there wasn't a bunch of studies about spanking your children or how that was negative or whatever the case may be. So, of course, my consequences was I had a belt with my name on it, literally a leather belt that said Ryan on the back of the belt. And so, that was my consequences. And so when I think about being a parent, it's just trying to be the best person I can be. It's like, don't do that, right? It's counterproductive. And that's why I like in your bio material too, it says design your life, don't forget fun, right? Just kind of changing gears, talking about being parents and some of those kind of things. Like, that's like the most important thing to do, I think, with your kids and even with yourself or your spouse, is just remember that we only have one life to live, and let's have some fun.
Right. Totally. And in fact, the way that we do this work, we insist that you have a sense of humor. Like, it's literally a policy. Because if you don't have a sense of humor about looking at your own crap and looking at where you lie and looking at where you become your parent without even trying, or where you're blowing something off, like my examples, you're never going to do it. It requires a sense of humor. It requires having fun with it, or else, I mean, we literally have failure dance parties, right? Like, when we fail, we're like, yay, let's dance and sing, in our company, because we just figured out that's the only way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how do you learn if you don't fail, right? I mean,
exactly.
The epitome of learning is failure. That's why I love talking to some entrepreneurs too, and they tell their story about how they found their frequency. And a lot of them are like, I had 7 businesses that I completely ran to the ground. And it was the 8th one where they, multi-million dollar, they finally figured it out. And, that was fantastic. So, Laurie, I think lastly, just really quick, I know that one of the most important things of one person's happiness as we wrap up the show for today is building and fostering friendships. I have some friends of mine that I've known for a really long time. We went to high school together. We don't see each other as much as we would like, but every time I see them, it's like it was like I just hung out with them yesterday, right? Oh. And it's amazing. So, but how important are those friendships? And then also let the audience know where they can find more information about you and your coaching.
Okay, great. So friendships are really important. And that is one of my, one of the things that blew my mind again about having to write dreams in all 12 areas was in the category of fun, spirituality, and friends. I was like, why are you even making me do this? I was so focused on career, get married, have kids, build a career, get married, have kids. Like, I was so programmed, right? Just like you're programmed to become your father, right? I was just programmed to follow the party line and do the thing and check the boxes. And I never dealt with those other areas that are so important. It's like salad without the dressing. Come on. I mean, come on. I
had that once. It's no good.
It's not good. Like, come on. I'm a health nut and I believe in some dressing. So, and it really is healthy, right? It's like, you need fat in your diet. You absolutely need it for your brain and for your energy and for everything. So those things like fun and friendship and spirituality,
Thanks, Laurie, now I'm hungry.
They're necessary nutrients in a great life. And one of the things we've actually been talking about this a lot on our free calls, because I think this is really top of mind for people in the pandemic, because people are lonely, right? And they're like, and they are reaching out to old friends and they're trying to make new friends, but they can't go out. So it's really an interesting time. And I have asked people to consider, again, head, heart, and hoo-ha. Again, like, what do you need practically? Oh, I need to be able to talk to someone once a week. What do you need for your feelings? Oh, I need someone who's a good listener. What do I need for my chemistry? Like, oh, I need someone who I'd like to introduce to my other friends. Like, what are those head, heart, and hoo-ha criteria? And what are my values in friendship? And I recently determined, for me, if I can't help a friend, like if they don't think I'm a great coach, like they want my advice, I don't want to be friends. It's just not, like, it's not interesting to me. And different people value different things. People value listening. People value loyalty. People value fun. People value sense of humor. People value resource. People value all kinds of different things in friendship. That's what I value. And so I say to you, figure out what you value. Tell the truth about it. Tell the truth about how the people in your life line up with what you value or not. And then negotiate to have it line up or let go. and go on a hunt for your next friend, because your person is out there. If you're looking, if you're looking specifically for what you're looking for, you can find it. But don't go to the grocery store for a new negligee. Don't go to the lingerie store for a banana.
Have you ever ran across somebody that was like, I'm just cool with my family and I don't really need friends?
That was me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find that there are people who are friends with their family, and that suffices. But I recommend everyone have like at least one person outside, at least one unbiased for non-family member friend for the diversity factor.
I have a friend of mine who's like, I love this guy to death. Our political views are like this, right?
Right.
Completely flip-flopped and opposite, and it makes it tough to be friends because I can't be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of those challenges, like where you talk about. And so I find myself kind of distancing over time from this person.
Yeah.
Even though,
well, you might want to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And figure out if you can be honest, because it's possible that they'd rather keep you as a friend and listen to your crazy views and tell you theirs. But it's possible. Like, I really think that if I was friends with somebody with a very different political stand, I actually couldn't be friends. Like, I would want to lovingly break up, because I just wouldn't be getting what I need out of the relationship.
Right.
Because the way they think is so different than the way I think, it just wouldn't be enjoyable. And with all due respect, I would say, I don't think we should be friends. So it's okay to break up, but I always say give the person the benefit of the doubt to renegotiate with you before you just drift away or assume that they don't want to, hear your truth.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
All right.
So
where to find us?
Yeah, where do people find you?
Personally, Laurie Gerber _coach on Instagram is a lovely place to communicate. You'll find out about all our free calls and that type of stuff. But Inner You Life is currently on sale, and Inner You Life is your one-stop shop for all of Handel Group methodology that we normally do in private coaching. It's now available in digital formats. You listen, you do all the exercises yourself. It comes with free coaching, private and group coaching along with it, and it is extremely inexpensive right now.
That's awesome.
And you guys actually have a code. It's Finding Your Frequency 75, which will hopefully be in the show notes or wherever people get information. But it's Finding Your Frequency 75, and that makes what is normally $650 for a lifetime subscription only $325.
I'm gonna go sign up. I'm
crazy.
signing up.
Yeah, it's a really good deal, I gotta say. Even if you just listened and did the work, it's crazy worth $325, and then you get a private coaching session, which is normally $325. So It's a good deal. I recommend it highly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Laurie Gerber, thank you so much for joining us right here on Finding Your Frequency. Had a wonderful time. Make sure you guys give us 5 stars, not 4 because we deserve 5. We're 5-star human beings, so let's rock it. And if you guys are listening on your favorite podcast mechanism, make sure you share this with your friends. Finding Your Frequency brings you brand new content at least 1 hour once a week. We try to bring you a little bit more, but we appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Thank you so much. I'm Ryan Treasure right here with Laurie Gerber, and we're out of here right here on Finding Your Frequency. We'll see you next time.